Welcome to This Week in Real Estate with Jonathan Harmon and Bryan Nale. Your local experts on all things real estate in Middle Tennessee. Listen in as they discuss the current state of the market, the latest trends, and have a little fun while doing it. We do want to say the opinions voiced on this podcast are for general information only and not intended to provide specific advice or recommendations for any individuals. All right, everybody, welcome back to This Week in Real Estate with your guys, Jonathan Harmon and Bryan Nale, where we're bringing all the holiday cheer this year. That was just off the top. Sorry.
Holiday cheer this year?
Yeah.
Hooray!
Merry Christmas!
Spear fingers! Jazz hands!
This is our special Christmas edition.
I hope everybody's watching because you're not going to get a This Week in Real Estate for 2 weeks.
And what have you done?
I was going to ask you and Trent if we want to try to record a different day next week or the weekend between Christmas and New Year's.
I'm down.
Maybe.
Let's look at some schedules. To be tuned. This might be the last one of 2025.
Tuesday would be my only day, I think.
Of next week.
And I'm out the whole next week.
I could probably do Tuesday next week.
Let's do scheduling live on air. Yeah.
This is what people watch for.
Yeah.
Bryan finishing a text and us scheduling next week's episode.
So Bryan, you don't have the picture pulled up. Can we effectively communicate the picture?
Yeah, I think so.
Okay.
This is a bonus. It has nothing to do with real estate, but every generation had its blue dog.
Yeah.
All right.
This is fascinating, by the way.
Every generation had its blue dog. So you think about the baby boomers, right? They had Huckleberry Hound.
Huckleberry Hound. Yep. Blue dog. Yep.
I get out of sorts and stuff, but like your millennials, they had Blue's Clues.
Blue's Clues. Yep.
More recently, there's
Bluey. Yeah. All blue dogs.
Right.
But you left out Gen X, buddy.
Oh, that's
and Xennials. They're like
Gen X and Xennials have
that's us, by the way.
Have Snoop Dogg in his crypt outfit stand up on a roof.
Blue dogs.
I'm wearing blue.
I love it. Up top, don't leave me hanging here. Okay, thank you. That's fantastic. Yep. I can relate to this.
Yeah,
I feel this in my soul.
I think we've got the best blue dog.
We 100%.
Oh, yeah, definitely
100%. Yeah, 100%.
What's a Xennial technically? Is that
it's like that micro generation between like 1980 to 79, maybe
78, 79 to like 82. Yeah,
83.
I was gonna say 3. So we had computers, but all we had was Oregon Trail, and but we also played outside. And
we were like our childhood was aligned with like Gen X.
I feel like that could go to 86.
That's what. So I was sitting next to Dina at Believers in Business this morning. She was born, I think she said she was born in 90, and the guy across from us was born and her husband's born in 86 is what it was. And so we were talking about that cutoff, and I think it's and one guy, Aaron, made a good point. It could have something to do with where you grew up.
I was just about to say,
because like if you grew up in a rural area that was kind of like
poor,
or 5 years behind.
Yeah, if you're poor, you still didn't have a computer.
If you were 5 years behind pop culture or any of that stuff, then you might identify. You might have been born in 85 and identify more as a Gen X.
We didn't get our first home computer. My parents did not get their first home computer until 1997. Or 8.
Yeah, I feel like we were probably
9, somewhere around
96.
there. I was out of high school before we got our first home computer.
When did you graduate high school?
97.
Okay, so I graduated in 98, but I know that we had one while I was in high school. It wasn't until we moved to Knoxville. We moved to Knoxville in 95. So, yeah.
Nope.
All right, let's talk about some real estate.
Yeah.
You want to do the headlines?
Yeah.
Back to us.
So, President Trump addressed the nation last night. And I think that anytime the president addresses the nation and he's talking about things like interest rates, that's worthy of a conversation and headlines and market movers. So he's Jerome Powell's on his way out, right? The appointed term that he was assigned to, it ends next year.
Who appointed him? Because it's 12 years, is that right?
It's 14, I believe.
14?
Or maybe it's 12 for the chair, but the board serves 14.
So 12, was that
been Bush?
No, it's Obama, right?
Obama.
Yeah, it's Obama.
So I'll say this, and this is controversial. I think he has done a good job of navigating the market the last 2 or 3 years. I think the one thing he would probably like a do-over on was he would have liked to have started raising rates in 2021. But because of the extra variants of COVID and just the uncertainty that was coming out, he kept rates and he encouraged the board to keep rates lower longer. And
he should have started a little earlier.
And
that's armchair quarterback.
That's armchair
hindsight.
quarterbacking, and we didn't know. It's easy to look back and think COVID was we had an overreaction to it, but the reality is, it could be that sheltering in place did slow that curve.
I was going to say, did our overreaction make it look like an overreaction?
Because if you look at where they didn't have as much time to prepare, like over in Europe, and it just ravaged through their country. We were able to kind of slow that curve a little bit, and I mean, so yeah, it's a little controversial in this demographic to say stuff like that, but that would be leaning more into a COVID conversation and less into an interest rate and Jerome Powell conversation.
Agreed.
Which is, I think, want to stay on course here. So he's on his way out, and President Trump is going to get to appoint the next Fed chair. And he addresses the nation last night and says that the next Fed chair is going to be in favor of lower rates, much lower rates than what we have seen here recently. And I think that's interesting to me because that could send some shockwaves. Like his rhetoric there can send some waves through the market where people think, well, why on earth would I buy a house in January while Powell's still a Fed chair and I know the next guy's going to want lower rates? Well, that Fed chair is appointed by the president, but those are long-term. The terms are long in nature, and the Fed chair really has only one vote. Mm-hmm. Now he runs the meetings, he sets the tone. He's the one that gets up and speaks, and we've seen Powell send some crazy shockwaves to the market after the Fed cuts, and Powell gets up there and throws a wet blanket on it, right?
Right.
And we'll say that he's done that a few times.
Sure.
Here. And so that's.
But he's not the only voice.
He's not the only voice.
He's certainly not the only vote.
There's a lot of votes there, and so and this is all designed so that the Federal Reserve Board is kind of above politics.
I was going to say largely anti party, but what's the word I'm looking for?
It's bipartisan.
Bipartisan. Thank you.
And so and
even anti-partisan. I would go that far.
They have a mandate to steer the economy, and they're going to. That's going to be their first role, right? And so, whoever the chair is, I don't want people to sit here and think, oh well, next year we're guaranteed to have lower rates because Trump's going to put his guy in.
Well, but the reality is, we were already looking. I mean, it's not like. If somebody comes in and says we should have lower rates, that's not new. That's not a development.
The Fed's cut rates the last 3 times they've met this year. We're already going towards that direction.
Yes.
So to say that Powell's been, Trump has just made a scapegoat, if you will, out of Powell because it doesn't align with what his campaign promise was lower rates immediately. Well, we would have gotten to lower rates faster probably if we didn't have tariffs. Now, if you want to say tariffs are a good thing or a bad thing, we can have that conversation later. But the reality is those tariffs gave the Fed a difficult job of that dual mandate of the protecting the economy, keeping rates where things are affordable, but not letting inflation run out of control.
Yeah. And that's really probably ultimately the Fed's job is to balance, right? So what are all of our outside mitigating factors, and what are the things that we need to do to try to balance it and move responsibly in the right direction? And the reality is, y'all, if somebody came in and immediately demanded and was successful, and let's say and like in their first move got a 1 full percentage point drop, that would not be good for us.
No, that would not be good. That would not be good. It would send the bond market and the bond market is such a staple of the economy, and if it's not stable, nothing can function properly. So that would not be good.
So it has to be a responsible.
Would not be good.
And y'all, if you watch this show, you know that I'm not a huge fan of the way that the whole soft landing thing has been handled. I think it should have been started earlier, and I think it should have been a little more even. I think if you're going to do it, you need to do it. And sometimes you got to hurt a little bit. And so instead of this number, I think it should have been more like this. And we should have just done it.
Well, it could have been more like this, and then we could have bottomed out and started back up.
Yeah. But either way, the reality is we are where we are. We are going, in my opinion, in the right direction. And so your best bet is to stay the course. And if you want to manipulate it at all, maybe you accelerate it slightly.
The other things that I think that and Trump's smart, right? He knows that he needs some quick turnaround in the economy to improve his likelihood of carrying the midterms, of the GOP's ability to carry the midterms. And so he needs some swift victories. And
he only has 2 years to continue the party.
Yeah.
For the next candidate.
Right. And so he's looking for some headlines. And so the other things, some wins. The other things that you've heard lauded out there are, recently, and we've talked about this one, is the 50-year mortgage. And another one that I'm hearing now is this idea of portable mortgages, which you got to peel these things back, and you can't just say, well, yeah, why shouldn't I be able to take my 2.5% rate on a 15-year mortgage over to my next house? There's a lot of reasons, but at the end of the day, one of the biggest is that what kind of imbalance does that create in the market, where you have a bunch of, half of the home buyers are able to play in a market where the blended rate might be 4%, when anyone else who is not who's a first time home buyer is playing in a field where the rate's 6%. Or if you bought a house in 2015, in 2025 or in 2024, you're not going to benefit from a portable mortgage.
Well, it totally eliminates the concept of a current market.
Right.
The market, as we call it, that you and I operate in is by the minute.
Well, and when I say the imbalance that creates, what does it do? Well, that imbalance, it allows me, as somebody who's porting over a more affordable mortgage, to run the prices up on a house to outbid the first-time home buyers, the people who aren't porting a mortgage over. So it allows me to move prices even higher. Mm-hmm. And if we're moving prices even higher in a world where we haven't been able to see that material rate drop, that's going to make homeownership even more unaffordable for a lot of families.
Unattainable even.
So all of these things that are being trotted out there to sell headlines, we talk about all the time, read past the headline, read past the rhetoric, and read past the attention grabbing, whatever that is, and think about the unintended consequences, think about the ramifications, think about, step back from your situation and think about it from the holistic good, if you will, and think about what these things might do. And those are the reasons why they probably won't happen.
Well, and you said something that I'm starting to not believe in, and you said the unintended consequences. And man, look, you and I balance each other well. You're very level-headed. I'm not, and all the time. Sometimes I am when I need to be.
Let me go where I think you're going, and you tell me if I'm right. These unintended consequences. There's that invisible hand that actually is being controlled, and
it's not so invisible anymore.
It's not so invisible, and it's very much pulling strings that it once pulled to make certain things happen. I'm not going to say that's far-fetched,
and maybe those unintended consequences are fully intended.
Yes,
and when you can control, you think about this, and it's no secret. I write about it in my Monday email all the time, which, by the way, if you don't get that and you want to, comment or send me a DM with your email address and we'll add that. But one of the things that we write about in that Monday email all the time is that the I forgot how I was going to say this. The unintended consequences, I feel like you can control a populace when you can control their pocketbooks. And this is no secret. The situation that I'm in right now with my house, it's put a little bit of a strain on me that I have not really wanted to have happen. We're fine. We're praying for you. That's fine. Please do pray for me.
We're praying for you. For sure.
I absolutely
for a lot of reasons, Jonathan.
I need lots of prayers. But my point is, we're not hurting to the point where we're in trouble.
Yeah.
But the strain, what I'm not used to, some of that strain that's on me has affected decision making. Well, if you can do that across a populace, right? You make prices of milk go up or whatever, and all of these different things, you're going to be able to herd a population in directions based on, I'm going to call it desperation decisions, right? And look, I know some of you out there are in situations where, you know, the price of milk goes up by $1 a gallon. That does create a desperation situation.
All of a sudden, you're not drinking milk.
Yeah, and I'm using the price of milk just because it's easy to relate to. It could be anything. It could be car insurance.
The fact of the matter is, it's not just milk; it's all groceries.
That's it.
Yeah.
So if that stuff happens, it does affect your desperation, and that opens the doors for people to deliver these headlines that deliver hope of some sort, right? And you might have to hold your nose to grasp that hope.
Yeah.
Right. Trust me, I have been there.
Yeah.
Right. I want to have this hope. I want to believe in what you're saying, but my God, it stinks.
Yeah.
You know, and I mean, let's just face it, y'all. That's how populations get leaders that should never have been leaders.
So all of these things, there's a lot to unpack there. And I think we should have that show next week to get into that stuff. But, all of these things that are being talked about, when reality is what could really help a lot of families is, and this is inflationary, but if we could figure out a way to increase wages and without having, you know, to me, that's the balance. And what the Fed is supposed to be able to accomplish, or at least set out to accomplish, is to, you know, let's see some wage growth. Let's see less of the top 1% of the 1% hoarding so much cash and capital. And
we know how.
But
Brian.
I'm not saying trickle down economics is the answer, because that's been studied tremendously. But you know, the households need some relief, and they don't need the government to send them a check for nothing. They need jobs. They need high paying jobs. You know,
they don't even need high paying jobs.
No, they need They
need jobs that are commensurate with inflation.
They need jobs. Like when we look at the employment reports, if unemployment is low, but it's because we have so many people working, you know, in
3
minimum
jobs
wage jobs and working multiple jobs, when, you know, that's not the answer.
Right.
That when you've got companies that are hoarding record profits and pulling in record profit stuff, and capitalism, right, is the best engine out there, and I believe that. But unbridled capitalism can be dangerous, and it's what led to us having labor unions. And
sure.
and I've never thought I would say that we need to go back to having unions. But man, I could see a future where we do.
Yeah, and I want to qualify what I was saying. It's not about just all. There's so many talking points, and there's so much like we need to have high paying jobs. No, it's not that we need to have high paying jobs, because to me that's the same thing as aspiring to be an NBA player.
Right.
Do you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
What we need is that jobs should be commensurate with inflation. So as inflation does this,
right,
and jobs do this, that's a problem.
As inflation do this and jobs, you know, what somebody's making working at a factory or a Walmart or a McDonald's or out on an electrical line, and their salary stays the same while inflation's going up. Well, that creates.
And forever in the hourly jobs that I had younger in life, you know, you'd have a cost of living adjustment, and it would be 2-3%
every year.
Well, if inflation is 10, you didn't get a cost of living adjustment.
Yeah, you got to drop in the bucket.
Yeah, you lost money.
Yeah. We need to
wrap it up.
Yeah.
I know. Bring it in for a landing. Missy's over here. She's wearing her shoulder out, trying to be like, let's go.
We got to get to a commercial break.
Let's go.
All right, let's do This Is Real.
Oh boy. Okay. Christmas edition.
Oh my goodness.
I don't even think this is from a listing. I think this is just a funny picture that you found for us.
It works.
I don't need stockings.
You know, we don't even need to spend a lot of time on this. That is freaking hilarious. It is very obvious that those 3 young ladies' parents hate them. So I'm very sorry, young ladies, that your parents hate you, but they do.
What if I'm going to take a counter on this. This isn't their home. One guy dated those 3 girls, and he dated all 3 of them,
No,
and they all broke his heart.
I got it. No, this is what it is. Their last name is Owens, and that's Hannah, Holly, and Heather. That's their initials. Hannah, Holly, and Heather Owens right there.
All right, let's go. Moving on. What else we got?
Hey, have you ever
Bless
have
their
you ever heard of
hearts.
Post Malone?
Have I ever heard of Post Malone?
Yeah.
Yes.
Have you ever heard of Ho Malone?
No.
Home Alone. It's a movie with Macaulay Culkin and gets left behind with his parents. Home Alone.
Oh, Malone. Gotcha.
That's terrible. All right, what else? We're doing this Christmas trivia?
Gosh, Moses. All right.
Yeah, let's do some
Christmas trivia. Let's do it.
Where was that?
And
See ya, Holly,
this is
Heather, and
me.
Hannah.
I'm asking these questions.
and stick around for this because we do have a pro tip afterwards.
Okay. Christmas Island is a real place that belongs to which country?
Christmas Island. I know where this is.
The Netherlands.
Christmas Island is Spain.
Nope. Australia.
Dang it, that was my other guess.
Really?
Yes. They also have Easter Island, right?
Yeah, probably.
Or is that New Zealand?
I think that's Zealand.
Okay.
I don't know though.
What country is believed to have started the tradition of putting up a Christmas tree?
Ooh.
Germany.
Oh,
Dang it. I was buzzing in.
Oh, we weren't buzzing in.
Yeah.
Sorry about
No
that.
Yeah,
buzzing.
it is Germany.
it is Germany.
I watched the Swiss Family Robinson.
Where was Saint Nicholas born? That's a tough one.
St. Nicholas was born in
Huh?
Sweden.
Austria.
Turkey.
Well, there you go. Wah.
I know. Christmas movies, questions and answers. In Home Alone, how many? Oh, this is tough. In
Home Alone.
How many brothers does Kevin have?
Brothers just giving it. One.
2 is correct. Buzz and
The little one.
Buzz and Jeff.
I think Jeff's actually older too. Buzz is the oldest, and Kevin's the youngest. And he's got the little cousin that's the nerdy little kid that.
Ooh, Buzz, your girlfriend.
Okay. According to Buddy the Elf, what are the 4 food groups elves can eat?
Oh,
1 point per correct food group.
Maple syrup,
Yep.
candy,
Yep.
pancakes,
marshmallows,
No.
neither of those.
Candy. Think candy. More.
Chocolate,
No.
candy canes,
Yep.
Yep.
And
ice
one-
cream.
Candy. One.
Sprinkles.
This one's tough.
Yeah.
And it's a.
Mariah of Halloween candy.
Candy corn.
Oh, there you go. That's funny. What did you say to do,
Last
Missy?
one, dude.
We each got 2 there.
When do the 12 days of Christmas start and end?
I asked this question to the Mug Club the other day. I guess it would end on the 24th.
No,
So it'd start on the 12th?
no, it starts on the 26th and it ends like on January 6th.
That's one day off. January starts on the 25th, ends on January 5th, supposedly.
That's dumb.
Yeah,
12 days of Christmas starts on Christmas.
yeah.
And what happens after January 5th?
You freeze.
Epiphany.
Epiphany. Wow.
Oh,
Yeah.
I just
Yeah.
realized that.
Yeah.
See what I did there?
All right.
Wow.
Who won trivia?
Let's protest.
Brian did.
I won that.
Brian did.
Definitely won that. All right, pro tip.
Bob.
We do now, yes, sir.
What is the image?
All right, look, this is a upgraded pro tips.
Let's go.
All right, so we don't see it on our screen here, but it should be on the computer screen or your cell phone if you're watching from home. So these are just some tips for boosting credit score. So if your credit score is not where you want it to be and you're wondering why, a couple pro tips. One of the biggest components of credit score is your debt to credit utilization. So if you're maxed out on credit cards or you're running not even if you're maxed out. If you're maxed out, your credit score is going to be dropping pretty fast. But if your utilization is over 30%, work towards getting that back down. And there's a couple ways you can get it down. You can actually open up a new credit card and not really use it. That will help out your overall debt to credit ratio. But even there, if you've got 3 credit cards with a $5,000 limit and no balance on them, but you've got one that's close to the limit, that you might want to work on getting that. You want to work on getting that one down. I've seen people who've had credit scores in the mid 500s jump to over 700 when they got their debt to credit ratio right, because there was no late payments. There was nothing negative on their credit. It's just that they were maxed out on 3 credit cards, and they had some money come in, were able to pay them all down to 25% of the credit balance of the credit limit, and their score just within one reporting cycle, it can jump 200 points. Wow. That's a huge one. Mix up your credit too. So have a little bit of installment debt, have a little bit of revolving debt. Don't close old accounts. If you've got a credit card that you've had since college and it's just sitting there with a zero balance, you're like, I really should close that. I never use that card. Don't close it. Use it every once in a while. Let it show up on the credit bureau. Give it a little activity, and that's going to help your credit, because the age of your credit accounts is also a big component of your credit score. Obviously, don't miss payments and minimize credit applications. We always talk about credit inquiries as being a component of your credit score, and credit inquiries is definitely a part of your credit score, because what it signals, let's say if you've got a mortgage application, a car loan application, and a credit card application, or 2 or 3 credit card applications, all within the same 60-day period. It's like, whoa, what's this person doing? It sends red flags to lenders that, hey, this guy's trying to get a whole lot of credit all at once. Is he just plumb broke? Like, what's going on here? Because
ultimately, credit is a measure of your spending and consumer behavior.
Right, consumer behavior, absolutely, and part of that consumer behavior is your ability, not even your willingness, but it's a combination of your willingness and your ability to pay back what you borrow.
Yeah. What is I don't see it on here, but what is the effect? Is there an effect, either way, positive or negative, to having a credit card that you use and you pay off every month? You never carry a balance.
So the general rule that there's going to be a positive effect there. It's going to report favorably on your credit report in the sense that you've got an account that's reported with a zero balance. But if you do carry a little bit of a balance, then that's how the credit report's going to know that you're making payments on it. If it's just a zero balance every month, you might be making
if you drive the balance up and then pay it down.
The credit bureau doesn't see that you've made a payment. The credit bureau sees that you have $0 due. Now, statement dates don't match up to when creditors report. So that's something to watch out for too. You could have your credit score could be lower because maybe you're that person who loves the points and you're playing the game, but you're in a cycle where
they report on the 20th, but you're
not making your payment until the 31st when you get paid. And so on the 20th, by the 20th, you've got 2/3 of your monthly budget has been stacked up on that credit card. So that could be
interesting.
That could be something to watch for.
Very interesting.
And a good way to do that is monitor your credit report. You just kind of stay on top of what's being reported.
And I'll tell you, Brian didn't pay me to say this, but one of the things that Brian does for my clients often is, and I would tell you this, my pro tip is that it really is time to buy. So if you're thinking about buying, this is a phenomenal time simply because of market activity, so the seasonality aspect of it, but also just where our market is right now, so little activity that this is a time to jump in. Yeah. So if you are considering that, you've got to sit down with Brian and talk about this particular aspect. And let's just say, I'm going to throw some numbers out there. If they're wrong, then just don't correct me. It'll be fine. But let's say that you're sitting at a 620 right now, and the magic number is a 680 or whatever, right?
Well, it depends on what you're looking for, but let's say THDA is a 640.
Okay. And let's say, the point is that you're off by 20 or 30 points, right? Brian has simulators. Brian has ways that he can look through your credit and run some things on it and say, okay, for the next 45 days or 60 days or 30 days or whatever, you need to do this, this, and this. And that should move the needle, as long as you don't do anything else, right? That should move the needle enough for you to jump from this particular loan qualification to this better loan qualification. It can save you money on your rate. It can save, so many different things that it could make you eligible for a loan product that you weren't eligible for before.
I'll tell a story. I've got a client who just refinanced due to an unfortunate divorce, right? And so when the process starts, pull his credit, he's got high credit utilization, and the scores definitely, it's going to work, but I tell him, hey,
you're going to get penalized.
While this is all playing out, do this, do this, do this. And I'm going to wait till the very last minute to order your credit report. And when I do, I think we're going to improve your terms. And that's exactly what happened.
Yeah.
And we're not always going to be able to do that. And sometimes those models won't play out the way that we expect them to, but they're pretty accurate.
They're pretty accurate.
They're pretty accurate. And so in that guy's case, we were able to improve his position pretty significantly. And I've talked to some really, really smart people who, in the last 3 or 4 weeks, who are planning on buying a house next year, who have, and this is the biggest pro tip of all of these. If you're planning on buying a house next year, I don't care if it's in December of next year or if it's in the first quarter, talk to a lender now, get an application in and ask them to look at your credit and see what you can do better. Ask them to do that, because not all are going to volunteer to. Ask them to look at my credit and say, hey, what can I do to move my score up to the next tier?
And not only that, but let's pretend that you're at a 720, right? And you're at a break point.
Yeah.
Okay. You need to know that, so that you don't do anything dumb between now and December or whenever, right? Yeah. So are you on the cusp? Are you just below? It's just good if it's in the foreseeable future. It's good for you to know where you are and what you can do to either not mess it up or to make it better. Yeah. The other piece of that, and I'm talking specifically to my VA folks. Okay, you can get advice like this. So let's pretend that you got out of the military last year. Right, you've got your honorable discharge, you got your DD 214, all of that, and let's pretend that you worked on jet airplanes and your hearing is messed up. Oh man! Right, the number one thing that you can do before you buy is go and get your disability. Yeah, go get qualified. Get that mark on your discharge papers that you have even a whatever 5 or 10, whatever the lowest is, 5 or 10% disability, because that is going to change so much for the better for your financing. It takes time and it takes effort, and it is 100% worth it. But you don't know that if you don't talk to somebody first.
And what Jonathan's talking about is the VA funding fee. And the VA doesn't have PMI, but it does have a funding fee. And so
most people finance it into their loan.
And it's added to your loan amount. So let's just say you're getting a mortgage for $600,000 and your purchase price is $600,000. Well, you're going to have a loan. Your mortgage is likely going to be $615,000 because you're going to have financed the funding fee, and the VA will allow you to do that. But you talk about equity, right? And you're starting out
negative.
And now I'm not saying don't do VA if you're disabled, because it's a wonderful program. It's better than not buying, right?
For sure.
And VA does have great interest rates. So, but man, if you can get that, it's going to give you a little bit of money too, right? And then because if you're even at that 5% rating, you're going to get a little bit of a check each month, and then it's going to save you thousands of dollars in funding fee.
Yeah, and I'm talking directly to my veteran friends. I have very good friends that have explained this mindset to me because I'm not a veteran. You going and getting that declaration of even a small disability does not take anything from anybody else. Yeah. So just because your disability doesn't make you not functional, okay, that's not what we're talking about. Right. If in your service you have somehow ruined some part of your body, some part of your functionality, you are entitled to that.
You've earned it.
You've earned it. And
we want you to get
and it. Does not,
as the non-veteran community who pay taxes, we want you to.
It does not take from somebody else that needs it, quote unquote, more than you do.
Yeah.
Okay. And that's a mindset that is a mistake.
Yeah. Powerful stuff.
All right.
Good stuff.
Hey, you know what? I don't know when we're going to do a show next week, but I want everybody to know Christmas Eve, we have a super, super fun event here at Cedar Glade. It's the Procrastinators Craft Fair. It's from 5 to 8. I think we're up to 11 or 12 vendors that are coming in, selling all kinds of stuff, everything from cakes and pastries to plants to Damascus steel knives to home decor. I don't even remember now. There's a whole bunch of cool stuff. Books, vintage books, all kinds of stuff like that.
Is Heart of Vinyl going to be here?
Heart of Vinyl is not. Unfortunately, Justin had a prior engagement. Yeah. But it's going to be awesome. Caricatures. Oh, cool. It's going to be super fun. Yeah. And if you do wait to the last minute, guilty. It is way better than raiding Walgreens for those last minute gifts.
Absolutely.
Good stuff. Good show.
That's on Christmas Eve. Did I say that?
Yes.
Okay. All right.
Right.
Cheers.
Merry
Trent.
Christmas,
cheers.
Everybody.
Love you, man.
Love y'all. Appreciate you both very much.
Same.
All right. We out. Thank you for listening to another episode of This Week in Real Estate with Jonathan Harmon and Bryan Nale, your go-to resource for all things real estate in Middle Tennessee. Be sure to like, share, follow, subscribe, and leave us a 5-star review. We will see you all on the next one.
Now for the nitty-gritty. Primus Mortgage Company is a subsidiary of Primus Bank, member FDIC, Primus Mortgage NMLS number 1894879, EK number 1042893, ML number 1894879. As always, all loans are subject to credit approval and product guide equal housing lender.